everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review of the movie Home Alone 2 Lost in New York. And I thought that this was okay. Mainly after watching it kind of all the way through and seeing how it kind of does what it does, it mainly just does similar kind of things to the first movie, mainly in regards to the beginning and the end. The best kind of bits kind of work in the middle, where Kevin is alone in New York and pretty much dealing with the hotel staff. That, I think, had more kind of potential, where I wish they had just stuck with that, instead of attempting to do some weird-ass plot shenanigans to get Harry and Marv back into play for Kevin to fight against. It kind of works a little bit against the movie, because then Kevin has to find some kind of place to booby-trap the fuck out of to fight them again. And we mainly just get certain kind of rehashes of what we have already gotten. So that's why this one is kind of just like a kind of lesser one. Also, the timeline of it kind of goes a little bit weird, because at one point the mother references that this happened a year ago when Kevin was like 8. And then he says that he's like 10. Now, that would work within the realm that it took, like, the first movie came out in 1990, and the second movie came out in 1992. So if you go with that kind of real-world kind of thing, sure, yeah, he then goes more along the 10 kind of route. But it's just like, what the fuck's kind of going on here? So, we pretty much start off, and the family is pretty much getting ready to go on to a trip to Florida this year. And we then pretty much get kind of a rehash of Buzz, mainly being the antagonistical force here, where they have to do this kind of choir thing. We also see Kevin utilizing this kind of voice recording thing. That becomes important later on. Asking about him, like, packing all the stuff that he needs to pack. Anything along those kind of realm. He has to go get his tie for the whole kind of choir event thing. And that's where we get his uncle doing the whole thing with, like, the cool jerk kind of shit. The problem is, he utilizes this later on in the movie, and it doesn't show him recording the beginning of it. Whereas in the part of the movie where he utilizes it, it goes from the beginning, because he's just going in for, like, his tie at first. And now there could be some strange-ass editing where Kevin actually does start recording it, but in the way that it's cut and shown, it shows that he tries to grab his tie first, then sees his uncle doing the kind of stuff, then starts doing the recording and getting to the, like, get out of here, you nosy little pervert, or I'm going to slap you silly kind of shit. And it's just like, alright. Oh, and Tim Curry's in this, and he would have made he does such a great kind of villainous role in this. I really wish that he had been more of the antagonistical force of what was kind of going on. But we get them doing this whole kind of choir thing, Kevin having a solo, and Buzz taking, like, 2 kind of electric candle things and, like, lighting his ears up and pretty much embarrassing his ass. And Kevin's like, eat shit, fuck boy, and, like, pushes him. And then it kind of domino effects and takes down the whole kind of thing. And Buzz gives this apology to the rest of the family, which, I swear to God, it's just mainly to get through with it. You both need to apologize for being assholes. And it's like, this dude, you would have to have some kind of, like, no understanding of how to read people at all. Like, the mother not being able to tell that Buzz doesn't mean a fucking word of it, and Kevin pretty much calling it out and being like, fuck this shit. And then Uncle Fred's like, don't you ruin this trip for us. It's like, he actually kind of saves the trip for you, because you get down to Florida and it's raining like ain't nobody's business. And then they're kind of watching It's a Wonderful Life in Spanish, echoing the first film where they were watching it in French. And of course, we get John Hughes and Christopher Columbus back, and it's like, okay, so everybody's pretty much being an ass to Kevin, and we see him get into a tiff with his mom, being like, oh, maybe you'll get your wish again this year. It's like, oh, whatever. And we see that he's trying to get batteries for his recorder, and gets a hold of his dad's bag. And he gets kind of left behind because his father fucked up the alarm, and they were bum rushing again. However, Kevin gets fucked gets fucked over at the airport, where he's trying to get this kind of stuff and follows the wrong kind of person. Now, the plot contrivances to kind of get this whole thing kind of going at least works within the realm of what's going on. He's kind of late for the plane. He knocks into the woman. Everything's kind of shuffled up, so the stewardess does not see that it's for a different flight for Florida versus this one for New York. Kevin probably would have learned that nobody else would be on the same plane, pointing out his dad, but yet it's not his dad. So he pretty much lands in New York. The family is in there, and then they're trying to figure out what's kind of going on. The police officer's like, has this happened before? It's like, yeah, we kind of did this last year. They're trying to kind of laugh it off. The father finds out that he doesn't have his wallet with him, that it's in the bag that Kevin has. It's like, hey, credit cards. And that kind of links up after we see Kevin pretty much trying to do what he's doing. So he had seen this commercial for the Plaza Hotel and pretty much goes in there. We get some stupid ass Trump cameo, which is like, okay, it's mainly in regards to like if somebody's using certain kind of properties or whatnot. It's like when you see Elon Musk in Iron Man 2. It adds nothing to the film. And it's like, alright, that asshole's in here. Okay. But we see Kevin kind of just like seeing everything, and that's mainly the whole kind of thing. It's just like an ad for like this Plaza Hotel kind of thing. It's like, okay, cool. I'd rather focus on the character kind of dealing with this stuff. So he pretty much gets their rigmaroles and kind of goes through the rest of the people that work at the plaza, which I wish they had focused kind of more on them to kind of see why they're kind of dealing with ways as they are, because they're just pretty much presented as like villains, and it's like, this is Christmas time in New York. They don't want to deal with any extraneous shit. It's like, if you've never been anywhere adjacent to retail or anything of a service kind of industry, and not unlike, if you need, like, I wish that they'd kind of been, because it's mainly done from Kevin's kind of perspective. This is where the only kind of time where I'm like, where I'm like, alright, because everything else where they're like trying to even it out, that is like, Kevin and his family are in the wrong, it's like, no. And that's not just me liking Kevin or anything, or it being from his perspective. It's just like, assholes. Hello. So, he is able to pretty much record and kind of screw with his voice to pretty much have the father kind of thing, though he's still kind of stupid on the thing. It's like, hello, this is such and such McAllister, the father. It's like, he's smart, but he still thinks like a kid. So he's able to pretty much get past it with this woman utilizing the card and everything. Then, of course, links up later. He gets this nice-ass suite. Rob Schneider's in this, and pretty much just trying to see what's kind of going on. Tim Curry pretty much like, hey, can you figure out what the fuck's kind of going on with this kid? It's like, yes, that's actually a good thing to do, though the way they handle the situation isn't really that good, because Rob Schneider's Cedric character is like trying to go through his shit, and he's like, fuck off, man. And it's like, here's a tip, and just gives him gum. And I do not blame Kevin or anybody who's young and has never been in the whole tipping scenario. Tipping is so fucking just... I have vast issues, but it does make sense that he doesn't understand what he needs to do with tipping, because God help you if you've never been in that kind of situation and don't understand why, for some odd, inexplicable reason, we decide that we need to have it put on other people instead of the businesses to actually really give livable wages to people. So it's like, it creates these awkward, fucked up social situations where you're like, oh shit, what the fuck's kind of going on here? Though, you would pretty much not be without the realm to be like, this dude shouldn't be looking in his bag, and really has not provided really the best kind of service as we go through the movie. So he's pretty much got this kind of bar thing. He's able to order this room service and stuff, and has like ice cream and stuff like that. He's got the next one of like the Angels with Even Filthier Souls, where the dude takes out this woman and shit's like, holy fucking shit. Yeah. So he pretty much just starts like exploring around and seeing what's kind of going on. We see that like Harry and Marv have somehow broken out of prison during a riot, and somehow no, they were in prison like in the Chicago area. Somehow they were able to escape that prison and get to New York around the same time that Kevin is. Like the plot contrivances are like, why do we need to do this? I would have rather had seen him kind of dealing with shit at the hotel rather than, oh, okay, they've decided to become the Sticky Bandits, and their plan is to rob a toy store. Because Kevin kind of goes around, meets with this woman, this homeless woman with pigeons, and kind of has a nice time with her, meets this Duncan dude at this toy place and gets some stuff, but then finds out that like all the proceeds are going to a children's hospital, and then Kevin actually gives some more money to him because of that, and gets these like 2 turtle dove ornaments, one of which he gives to the homeless lady later on at the end of the film. So we see that Harry and Marv are casing the joint, and they decide that they're going to wait until like midnight, go in there and steal all the money and shit. They of course then start doing a kind of chase sequence, which is going on. We see that Marv had like this one woman keeps like bumping into them, and she's like, fuck you, man, and like smacking the shit out of him. They pretty much grab Kevin, and he like, we see the same woman, he pinches her ass to pretty much make it look like they did it to pretty much get assistance. Now, the thing is, a lot of weird shit happens in this movie. It's like, he is in trouble, and he kind of needs a distraction, and that's why he did it. He wasn't doing it to be a perv or a little asshole. He was doing it to get assistance from an adult without tipping off the people that are pretty much like, we're going to kill your ass. This also happens later on, where he decides to throw a brick through the toy store's window to pretty much get the attention of the assholes, to then fuck around with them and pretty much get them arrested by the police. So he pretty much gets out. This is where it starts linking up with the father. We see that Tim Curry's character is able to look what's going on with the credit card. He had also attempted to ascertain what was going on with the father. This is where we get the whole cool jerk thing, and he's like deathly afraid. He wanted to say actually apologize, but instead he pretty much gives a limo to Kevin and a cheese pizza, and but Kevin's like, he's not here. Tim Curry finds out that this credit card is stolen, and he gets this. I love how they line it up with the Grinch, because Kevin is watching the Grinch in the limo. This is before he gets to the toy store, and Tim Curry just has that kind of smile. He's got that the facial expressions that he can do, the physical comedy and all that. So he gets in there. We see that Kevin gets back to the hotel. He is attempting, Tim Curry's character is pretty much trying to grab his ass. It's like, you did not handle this situation very well. He's like, you stole that credit card, didn't you? It's like, okay, say he did. I think trying to do this out in the open and just kind of like fucking with shit isn't really in your best interest. Kevin is able to juke and dodge, and we see that pretty much most of the hotel staff that we've seen, and 2 of their kind of security forces pop in, which are just 2 old guys. Like, those are your security forces for this, like, beefed out kind of hotel? Alright, I mean, sure, it's a kid as well, but, like, what if some actual fucking shit happens? Like Kevin doing the whole thing, and they've got, like, we have a crazed guest with a gun. It's like, yeah, and, what the fuck is Cliff gonna do about it? Because Cliff was name dropped in the whole kind of thing, because the woman was smooching on all these people and everything. It's like, alright. So he pretty much books it out of there and tries to figure out his whole kind of plan. He does also attempt to do the whole thing with his uncle, because it was the same uncle that was like in Paris, and they're supposedly renovating this place, and it looks goddamn condemned. Like, there's renovations, and there looks like you had some kind of crazed ass rave and you busted out some shit, man. And that's a nice actual kind of like townhouse kind of thing. It's like, a lot of levels, and it looks pretty nice. If you get it up to a kind of certain level. And the thing is, Kevin gets in the house out of like a garbage slinky chute fucking thing that he can just climb up. Like, and he's small as shit. Like, it looked like anybody could climb up in here and have like fucking raving ass shit going on. So he throws the brick through the window. He gets Harry and Marv to kind of come after him. He fucking does some kind of thing where it's got like this seesaw kind of contraption where Marv jumps down and fucking launches Harry, and he just slams down into a car that's like, that should have fucking killed his ass. But of course, we have now entered the realm of the Looney Tunes again, and we just see them kind of bucking through. We get your typical kind of stuff. Marv gets shot with like staple guns. Harry gets flamed out again, except this time, instead of going for snow, he only has a toilet, which is then filled with more kerosene and goes poof. Explosion, yes. One of the best ones is that Marv falls down into the basement and is kind of like going around. He gets like slapped paint on him and everything, and he tries to turn on the water afterward to kind of like wash himself. Kevin puts electricity to it, and he's like shocking and escalation, because at first he's getting shocked, and then his hair poofs out, and then it gets to a point where it's a skeleton going, ah, ah, just like the level of scream that goes on with it, and then it gets turned off. He's going, and I gotta hand it to him, because you then see him build this like very unstable thing, but it's gotta be unstable enough to fall down after he gets to a certain point, but stable enough for him to get to that point. So yeah. Let's see. They then kind of like link up together. They dodge his paint cans, but then he does this giant metal tube that knocks him back down into the basement. We get a giant tool chest that kind of knocks him back. We do a kerosene rope that gets lit on fire, and that goops them up. Kevin attempts to escape, but then falls on some ice, and they pretty much get into Central Park. Kevin has already called the cops at this point, and they pretty much are threatening to shoot him because Harry's got a gun, but it's all gooped up, and homeless lady with the pigeons throws some shit on him, and the pigeons start attacking him, and then Harry's like, what the fuck's kind of going on here? And Marvin, of course, is like, we're that sticky bandits! We then see that Kevin reunites with his mother because she's trying to figure out what's kind of going on. She berates the hotel staff and everything as they're looking around for Kevin. Everybody else is also there as well, being comped by the room, and Tim Curry is just trying to do his best to handle the situation. But she then links up with some police officers and like, okay, I understand I'd be doing the same thing you would be doing. What would your son do right now? It's like, if you were your son, what would you be doing? I'd be dead. Kevin's smart, and he'd go for a Christmas tree, so he goes to Rockefeller Plaza. They link up and everything, and we had seen their shitty hotel room in Florida. We see a really great-ass hotel room here in the plaza. We see that Duncan has learned what's going on. Insurance will cover the window and everything. Kevin apologizing, and then Mr. Duncan actually gets some toys and everything for everybody else, and Buzz actually has a decent kind of... He's like, listen, we wouldn't be here if Kevin hadn't fucked up again, so I think he should get in this, like, bomb-ass fucking hotel room and shit, and, like, he should open the first present. I'm like, huh. And the thing is, you can tell. Like, you can tell when he turns the charm that he's attempting to do to be, like, an asshole that is apologizing up to 11 in the beginning of the movie, and then when he's actually being like, you know what, fuck you, you little shit, you actually did pretty well, and then seeing him go off, handing the turtle dove to the homeless lady, and then the father screaming, you spent like almost $1,000 on room service, and this again is just like, you fed yourself. I'm weird, I guess, like, and the thing is, as crazy as it is now, I'm like, yeah, I'm surprised it's not more, if that makes sense. I mean, I understand it's 1992 money and shit, and it's just like, yeah, but he made sure that he wasn't an asshole. He even was like doing stuff at the pool and asked if he could work on his cannonballs before he started doing it, which are like, damn, he's actually considered on that. Now, him getting like these giant kind of like junk food, just kind of room service, sure, but I'm just like, you are in a place without any kind of food. Like, even when he was going on the run from the hotel staff, he at least got some cookies and shit to sustain himself, and then he also gave some of the cookies bits to the pigeons as well. So, I would have rather this movie had focused on him fighting against the hotel staff and then them coming to an accord at the end. Not him, like, getting them arrested or anything, but them being like, oh, okay, because the hotel staff are like, what the fuck's going on here? I need to deal with this little shit because they've stolen a credit card. I don't know what the fuck's going on. And then finding out, they're like, oh, they're in a shit-ass situation and they're not actually trying to be a dick. And then coming to an accord like that, I think would have made a more powerful kind of movie instead of half-assing the premise, if that makes sense. Like, literally. We focus a good amount on Kevin doing stuff in New York, so it's not a waste to say that he's lost in New York. However, we then, towards the end, have to go into the home booby trap, cartoon-esque kind of shit going on, and even bring back the characters that we need to. It just didn't need to happen. Because the whole kind of Home Alone concept, I think, works pretty well as a franchise, which we see more kind of in Home Alone 3. I've seen that one more, and I actually kind of like that because it switches up what we've seen. Because in here, these first two pretty much follow the same kind of premise of he's either left alone or gets in a wrong kind of situation where he then is left alone. Whereas in the third one, they have to leave the kid home alone because they're working and the kid has chickenpox. Different kind of concept for the Home Alone thing and leads to different kind of things kind of going on. I'll get to that one eventually. But with this one, it started off interesting and then we just had to rehash and kind of rush a little bit to get to the kind of booby traps and everything. Those are if you're going that route, that's fine. However, it feels like it's more rushed because the set pieces kind of, we don't get as many kind of new set pieces on what's going on. He is in a different house. He should have access to different kind of materials. He should be able to do different kind of traps and everything. And it feels like it's just kind of busted through enough that it's just like, oh, this is what was in the first one. Let's kind of just keep doing things just changed enough, but similar enough. And that's where I think it falters and kind of falls down. I would probably recommend more of watching the first one and the third one and just skipping the second one because if you've seen the first one, you've seen the second one. Which you'd probably be like, well, if you've seen the first one, you've seen the rest of them. It's like, yes, but no. The third one completely changes the cast of characters kind of going on. It's more the same concept of the anthology of Home Alone, but you've got different characters. You've got a different family dynamic. You have different antagonists as well. This one almost could have done that with the kind of hotel route that I'm thinking of, but they didn't go for it. So it was kind of like, we need this. It's really kind of strange. It's like almost two bits that are kind of like mashing together, and it's mainly in the last half that the mashing together kind of overtakes, because I was enjoying it with when I was trying to figure out what Kevin's doing, him going around and trying to survive in New York and figure out what he kind of needs to do. And then it's just like, oh, we gotta fight these assholes again that we already did before. And do it kind of pretty much in a similar kind of manner. So yeah, I would more recommend other ones. Still a decent enough time because of the acting involved, at least. Macaulay Culkin does a good job as Kevin. Catherine O'Hara does a great job as the mom. You get good jobs out of Pesci as Harry. Tim Curry definitely is one of the highlights because of just seeing him as a different kind of character here and trying to be like that asshole head of the hotel and being the asshole to the kid, but then being the deferential shit heel to the family that you're like, oh shit, I fucked up. Kind of should have like, yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Oh, fuck. Goddamn. Yeah, I still found enjoyment out of this. It's not like I would say that it's a complete and utter waste of time, but again, it's one of those ones where you sit down all the way through and like, huh, okay. Instead of like coming in at certain kind of parts, it's like, okay, because most of the parts that I would be centralized around would be Kevin doing stuff in New York, and the hotel, and then pretty much his final battle with Harry and Marv. So watching it all the way through does give you a different kind of perspective. Also, being older gives you a different kind of perspective as well. If this is one of your first ones that you watch as a kid, Christmas movie watch, you'd probably be like, oh, okay, that's pretty good. And then as you get older and you see kind of other stuff and what the fuck kind of happens with the franchise, you're like, huh, what the shit? It's like people would be like, this franchise got screwed over at, like, you have different kind of points. It all depends upon when you come into certain kind of things. You see this a lot in Star Wars as well. Also probably potentially within Star Trek as well. Where depending upon where your frame of reference is, where you have your kind of initial introduction, is where you will have different kind of things kind of going on. It's just see it and understand it. Sometimes you like get a deeper appreciation for it because of how good it is, and sometimes you're like, okay, I still like this, but what the fuck's kind of going on here? So those are my opinions on the movie. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.